All right, SOFI update here on the 13th. I said I wasn't going to do a video, but I'm going to go into this a little bit more in depth. We're going to start with the smaller time price action first. A little bit different this time. Could this be the bottom right here? Technically on the SOFI chart, it could be the bottom. I know I said previously it couldn't, but the problem is I don't think that the overall market has bottomed, and I don't think Tesla has bottomed. So do you think that SOFI is going to go up when those two are going down? I don't think so. So I have a bias now towards this being a corrective move, because this chart's not going to matter if the other two are going down, and these two follow each other. So and Tesla's definitely more powerful than SOFI. Don't ask me why. I have no idea why these two are connected at the hip. I think it's just because retail trades them a lot. I'm not really sure, but they are on the same algo. So we look at the small time price action. We made an impulse here, clearly an impulse straight from 866 to 1060. We made either a second wave or a B wave here, and then we had the impulse from last Wednesday. But then we got to the top and we had 5 waves down. So if I'm looking at this, there's 2 possibilities right here. This could be right here a diagonal. So a short C wave. So it could be A, B, C like that. Or this is a B wave. And we make a C wave up here and then come back down. Based on the news this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and say this is probably going to go up on Monday. So with that being said, I would say this is probably overall going to end up being A, B, and we're looking for a move up here. Potentially to 1355, but you have that gap at 1290 that I've been talking about. There's a very good chance if this move plays out and we go straight to higher highs. I talked about this on SPX. If you watch the SPX video, if this just continues to go higher up to here, then that's going to be the top. That would be enough for the correction. That would be to the 0.5 retracement of this overall move right here. So this whole move, that's past the 0.5 retracement. That's the first possibility of how this is going to play out. Do I think this is going to be a nested impulse? I don't think so. This is a weekly supply zone. You have a gap here as well at 1220, and then you have one at 1290. So those are the 2 gaps I'm looking at if this goes up immediately next week. I'm looking at those gaps up there. If this ends up being a B wave like this, I would expect something down here. And then I would probably expect a little bit lower. This makes more sense, to be honest, because you look at the length of A, you put it at the bottom of B, it takes us right to the gap here at 13 bucks. The other one's going to take us higher than that gap, unless I'm missing a gap up here. Is there a gap at this area too? No, there's no gap there. So technically, this makes more sense. For us to come up early in the week, there's another gap up here. I know there's another gap right here too. It makes more sense for this to happen. So A, get rid of this. So we have A, B, C up here to this gap at 1133, back down to like 10 bucks. And then timing wise, this makes more sense too. So that's the B wave. And then we go up. And this makes more sense when you think about psychology. You think about how many people are bullish right now. If we go up a little bit, that's like a, what is that? Like a 6% move higher. We go up here to 1130. We break down to 10 bucks. And then we take off. That makes more sense from every angle. Because again, 10 bucks. Where's 1291? Maybe even lower than that, maybe 960. The 1.61 fib of this move is at 936. So there you go, like around 985. If we come up here just using like parallel line, the same length of wave A, this makes the most sense. And that takes us up here to like around 13 bucks. So those are the two possibilities short term. So we're either going straight up here to like 1350, something like that, and this is the B wave right here, or the B wave has not finished yet, and this is A, B, C, B, C, and then we get 5 waves up like that. That's the short-term price action I'm looking for over the next probably week or two. I would say something like that for the shorter term time frame. So now that we got the shorter term time frame out of the way, let's talk about the possibilities here. Actually, I'm going to add in one more thing. This could possibly, this is the hard part about projecting short-term time frames, why people get confused, because that could just be subwaves of a bigger ABC. So we could go like this, and then come down here, and then go higher after that, and that could be a bigger ABC move. That's the tricky part about this. So I use fibs. If we already hit the 0.5 fib, it's likely it would be finished right in here. But you always have to leave the possibility that that's only the overall A wave, B, and we get a C wave up like that. So this could be subwave A, subwave B, subwave C of the overall A wave, pullback B, and then a C wave higher. That's possible too. So there's a lot of different ways this can go. I would just focus on the short-term time frame I gave. Now let's go over the bigger picture. So this whole thing right here, I'm going to zoom out, is 335. So we have W, X, Y, that's 3. This is a 3-wave move, and then we get 5 waves down. So the 2 ways it's going to work out are that this is an A wave, we're in the middle of a B wave, which could end right here, or it could end like this, or the first possibility that I gave in the last video was that we are in a WXY move, and this is only the A wave of that, B, and we get the C wave down to 785. Those are the 3 possibilities I see for SOFI short term. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's why people get confused, because I could be talking about subwaves of a bigger wave, and it's hard to show the whole picture without people getting confused, because then you think it becomes a big mess, basically. So anyway, that is my thoughts on SOFI overall. Look for that short-term time frame to play out here. We're either going to go straight up here to 1291, or we're going to come up to 1133, back down, and then move up here. I don't think there's any scenario where we just drop immediately down. I think we got to come up here into this weekly demand zone now at this point before we make the next move down. Probably at least fill this gap at 1224, but I think 1291 is a pretty good spot for us to hit before we make the next move down. And I don't think that we bottomed here, unfortunately. Is it possible to go down all the way to 548? It is, because that would be the A wave. And you see the 1.61 fib goes right down there. So if we're going to go down there, let's just see. So this just says 12 bucks. This isn't necessarily always accurate, though. It could go much higher and still come down here to the 1.61 fib. I just use it to kind of give me an idea of where it could possibly go. So we are in a correction that's going to come up here. I don't think we're coming down anytime soon. Look for something up here around 1291 minimum. And then once we hit that area, you're either looking at this or you're looking at a bigger move that could be a lot of different things down here. It's probably going to be a 5-wave move down to $5. Or the third possibility is we come up here, then we go sideways, and then we go higher than that, like this, and then we come down. So I know it can get confusing, but that's my explanation. Follow the short-term time frames that I laid out for the next week or so. That's probably what you want to follow the most. Both of those go up here to at least 12 to 13 bucks into this weekly demand zone, weekly supply zone. All right, that's it for this video. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe for more updates. Let me know if you have any questions in the video or in the comments, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. And that's it. Get ready for another wild week in the Trump tariff market. All right, have a good one.